Hi, welcome to Progressive Short Takes. Um, as many of you know, I'm Joe Firestone. I usually do very lengthy live streams called the In Depth Show. Uh, but I decided that I would try some short videos for change and see whether people like them or not. So, this is the first of my short videos. And what I want to talk about here is why can't they make a deal? Why are the Republicans and Democrats in Congress and the White House people, uh, why are they delaying while people are getting evicted? Why did they allow the unemployment benefits to expire without anything that was going to replace the income? Don't they understand? Um, but can't they realize what most economists are saying, that they are exposing an economy still reeling from the effects of the COVID virus? They're exposing that economy to a monumental catastrophe not seen in America previously. An economic catastrophe that, along with the COVID catastrophe, is nearly sure to mark essentially curtains for Donald Trump. Okay, it would just be the end. We are already seeing that in national polls, some of them are already showing that Trump is down by 14 points. They're showing that many Republican seats are in jeopardy. There are Republican seats in the House that are in jeopardy, and Republican seats in the Senate, in jeopardy. It's more and more likely that the Democrats are going to succeed in taking over the Senate, and all Republicans are doing now is hurting their chances even more. So, the big question is, why won't they stop? Why won't they come to some deal with the Democrats? What is holding it up? Well, we have to go back in history, don't we? We have to go back to the CARES Act. We have to go back to the first deal. The first deal was crafted in the Senate. I have no idea why Nancy Pelosi allowed the Republicans to craft the first deal in the Senate. That was terrible, terrible strategy. But that is what happened. Okay, and after it happened, the Democrats wanted some changes in the bill. They got some of the changes that Nancy Pelosi wanted. I'm sure not all the changes. They didn't get a lot of the changes that a lot of other Democrats wanted. That bill was an unsatisfactory bill from the point of view of the Democrats. It gave the Republicans, though, what they most wanted, which was a money cannon of $4.6 trillion at the Federal Reserve to lend money at a very, very low interest rate to large corporations, guaranteeing that not only the banks, but all of Wall Street could be bailed out from this crisis, or at least that's what the Republicans think. At the time when the CARES Act passed, there was a lot of criticism, of Nancy Pelosi, and what Nancy Pelosi said is that don't worry, there'll be other chances. We'll fix this. There'll be a better situation later to get what we want. Well, later came and went, and the Republicans sat on their hands, and Mitch McConnell said basically that he wanted a pause, and he enforced the pause, and he kept that pause going, into the final day of expiration of the unemployment benefits, and then he introduced a bill that was dead on arrival because it was so poor, and because it was politically unacceptable, of course, to Nancy Pelosi. She had promised a better bill, and she had insisted on waiting for what she thought was the right opportunity, and I guess she figured the right opportunity would be when people were beginning to suffer and when the Republicans' chances for election, were at a minimum. But that's the situation which was actually created. Why didn't the Republicans come to the table? Why didn't they start considering the HEROES Act in a serious way? I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense to me. They should have done something if they wanted to have any chance of keeping control of the Senate, any chance of doing well in the House elections. And the White House should have been pushing the Republican senators to do something. Now the White House is exploring whether it's able to unilaterally extend unemployment benefits. Of course, they can't do that, but they're exploring methods, of doing that. They're exploring methods to see if they can use the powers of the executive to create a payroll tax cut. It's very doubtful they can do that. It's also very doubtful that a payroll tax cut is going to help the economy much, or that it's going to save Mr. Trump, or that it's going to save any of the Republican senators. But the Republicans in the executive branch are still scurrying around to find a way to get out of what for them is a serious mess. And it's a serious mess for the Republicans in the Senate as well. I personally think the Republicans are probably going to lose a minimum of 6 seats in the Senate. To me, it seems possible they can lose more because they are being blamed for what is happening now. Now, I warned about this, in previous weeks. They are proposing to cost the people who had been getting unemployment benefits $8,800 between now and the end of the year by letting the expiration go forward and by not extending the $600 a week in benefits. From a political point of view, that was a stupid thing to do. The Republicans, on the other hand, think that they've done what they had to do, which was to see to it that there was no suffering on Wall Street. And sure enough, the stock market seems to be up a bit, and they're complacent about it. I think this is very, very foolish. Whether the 4.5 trillion money cannon is there or not, the fact is large corporations, like small corporations, won't be doing business without that extra $600 a week, in benefits. They won't be doing business. And if they're not doing business and their sales are in the tank, their stocks at some point are going to precipitously fall. If there's a depression in the real economy, sooner or later, the market crashes. And the market is going to crash. And the election is still 3 months away. Plenty of time for the market to crash. Plenty of time for the market to crash. And this time, I'm pretty sure the Democrats are not going to do anything about the market actually crashing until they've extracted from the Republicans sufficient concessions to allow people at least to live in the pandemic, and for them, of course, to get the credit for this, okay, as well. But we have to note what the Republicans wanted was a bailout for the corporations. They got that. Okay, they got that. All the Democrats got was temporary stuff. So now the Democrats want far more. They want roughly $3.5 trillion in spending. However, many Republicans don't care. Many Republicans don't care. It seems as though Mitch McConnell is still pretty comfortable that he doesn't think that Amy McGrath can beat him in Kentucky. If that's the way the situation is, it's partly due to the Democrats who insisted on running Amy McGrath there and on not supporting Charlie Booker instead. If Charlie Booker were the nominee there now, I think Mitch McConnell would be worried because he would be much more popular by this time than Mitch is. But even with Amy, who is an unimpressive candidate, to say the least, unimpressive from the charisma standpoint, unimpressive from a populist standpoint. If things get worse for the economy, if things crash as they seem on the point of doing, it could sweep Mitch out, whatever he tries to do. But he's not worried. At this point, he's not worried. But there are plenty of Republicans who are worried, as many as 9 now, are worried. While the odds are still low, there could even be a Democratic sweep of the 2 Senate seats in Georgia if things keep going the way they're going. But a lot of the Republicans still don't feel the pressure yet. They still don't feel the pressure. And since they don't feel the pressure, they will not get on Mitch's butt and make a deal. So it has to be said, we have to point out that the time for the Democrats to make their deal was back in March. At that time, if they held out on the money cannon, they could have gotten whatever Nancy Pelosi wanted. But she allowed herself to be stampeded then by the seriousness of the situation. She seems to be showing a stronger backbone, at this point, but the pressure will build on her as it's going to build on Mitch, because the Republicans, of course, are making significant attempts to say that both sides are equally to blame. Of course, the Democrats are always able to point out, look, we passed the HEROES Act back in May. You had 2 full months to consider it. You frittered away the time, and then you put in a bill that stunk and wasn't going to work for the economy anyway. The fault is yours. The fault is yours. Now you have to make up for it by passing a good bill now that makes people whole. This is the HEROES Act, and you have to pass it. So I'm going to end it there. I think if Nancy Pelosi stands firm, she will get a much better bill this time. But maybe she needs to put even a few more things in it so that people are made whole for what's coming down right now because of the delay caused by the Republicans. So that's my progressive take on this particular situation. I'll see you again shortly.